Alright, now on the work table, to draft this shirt with a collar, I'll first of all mark out 2.5 inch for my button allowance. So I'll mark it at 2 inch and connect it together. So this will serve as the button allowance. Remember, this is the front pattern. I'm drafting the front pattern first. So from there, I'll mark my shoulder line. Go ahead and mark my shoulder line 1 inch, then I connect it together. So this is the shoulder line. So from the shoulder line, I'll go ahead to mark my vertical measurement. I've marked my bust point and the waist point, so I'll connect it together. That's my bust point and this is the waist line. So from the bust, I marked 2 inches above. That's 2 inches above. I'll mark it and make a straight line. So from there, I'll create my shoulder slope, come down by 1 inch. My shoulder divided by 2 is 7 inches. 7 inches, I mark the 7 inches there. So I'll come down by 1 inch and connect it. Alright. So from there, I'll mark the same 7 inches at the chest line and connect it. Remember, I marked 7 inches at the shoulder line and also 7 inches at the chest line. That's my armhole line. Now I'll get the midpoint of the armhole and also divide my bust measurement. Right, so I'll get my bust measurement divided by 4. I've marked it there. Then the midpoint of the armhole. Then I'll connect the points together to create my armhole curve. Right, that's the armhole curve. Now the next step is to get my horizontal measurement. I marked that's the chest line, my waistline divided by 4. I'll mark it there. Alright, so please remember that the last vertical line here is a waistline. So mark your waist divided by 4, you mark it there. I mistake that line for hip measurement, so you can see it's a big wider. I'll correct it later. Now I've gone ahead to trim off the draft. So the next step is to create my neckline. The neckline I'm using here is 3 inches wide and 2 inches depth. So I'll go ahead to connect it like so. So that's the neckline. So I'll trim it off. So I'll go ahead and trim it off. So now I'm going to take out 1 inches from this front pattern shoulder line. I've taken off 1 inches from here. Sorry, 1 inch. I'll take off 1 inch from here, right, to make it a bit lower than the back pattern. So this is me taking it out. This is 1 inch. So I'll go ahead to cut it off. I'll cut off the 1 inch and the neckline. Alright, so now I've trimmed it off. So what I'll do is to replace this 1 inch taken at the back pattern. Now this is the front pattern and the zip allowance, as you can see. So I'm gonna head to correct the waist measurement. So the next step is to place the front pattern on the back pattern. Okay, this is the back pattern. I'll trace it on the back pattern, okay, to identify my vertical measurement. Now from there, I'm going to replace the front 1 inch taken from the shoulder line in the front pattern. So that is me replacing it at the back pattern. Alright, so now I've add the 1 inch at the shoulder line. Added the 1 inch at the shoulder line. Then I'll trace the neck line. Okay, so trace the neckline. Remember, the neckline will be a bit higher than the front, so let me place it so you can see it very well. So I'm taking 1 inch depth at the back pattern. Remember, I take 2 inches depth at the front one, so I'm taking 1 inch depth at the back pattern, then with the same width allowance, 3 inches width. So now I'm gonna head to trace it. This is the back pattern. Remember, when tracing this in, I fold the zipper allowance inside, so I won't identify there at the back. So now I'll connect the armhole curve. I'll connect the armhole curve and mark it at the chest line. So from marking it there, I'll get from the midpoint, I'll connect the armhole to the chest line. So this is it. This is the front pattern and this is the back pattern. I'll go ahead to trim off the neckline, the shoulder line, and I'll place it. So this is the front and this is the back. It's basically all for it. Now you can see the back is a bit longer than the front pattern. Alright, so it's a bit longer, so I'm going ahead to trace it on my fabric. It's tracing the front and the back pattern on the fabric. I'm going to tracing it, make sure you fold your fabric into two. So this is the front. So I go ahead to join the shoulders of the front and the back pattern together. As you can see, the back is lapping on the front because of the 1 inch there. So now I'm going ahead to create the button allowance. I'll fold the button allowance 1 inch, half an inch in, then I'll fold it 1 inch in. So I'm gonna head to pin it down. Go ahead to pin it on. Alright, just fold in half an inch first, then you now flat it in with 1 inch, then you pin it down. I'll go ahead to go to sewing machine and sew it down. Then after sewing it, this is how it is. Give it a good press. Alright, I'm giving it a good press. Now this is it. Alright, so the next step is to measure my collar. Alright, so I'll go ahead to measure my neckline. I'll measure it from one end to another to know the length of my neck line. So right, so I'll measure it. I got from one end to another, I'm having 18 inches for the neckline. So I'll go ahead to create my collar stand and the collar. Alright, so I'm at the midpoint of the collar, which is 8 inches. So after marking it, I'll get down by half an inch at the edge, then I'll connect it to the point there. Alright, I'm connecting it at the point. Then I'll go ahead to mark 1 inch, 1 inch at the edge. Then I'll mark it down to the end of the collar. So this is it. Alright, so I'm going to mark 1 inch and then I'll connect it. Okay, I'll go ahead and connect it. Alright, so this is it. Then I'll come in by half an inch again and make a curve there. So this is for the color. Yeah, that's my color stand. Alright, remember I folded this into two. Okay, so when you open it, it will be up to the length of your neckline measurement. So I'll go ahead to cut it off. Alright, so that's the collar. Then now go ahead to create the collar with the same measurements of my neckline. So I'll get the midpoint of the neckline. I'll measure the midpoint, that's the neck divided by 2. Remember I'm having 16 inches, so divided by 2 is 8 inch. So I'll come down by 1 inch and connect it to the midpoint of the collar. So I'll go down by 2 inch, or rather 3 inches from the one end to another. Then I'll connect it together like so. Alright, so I'll come in by 1 inch at the edge and also connect it. So So that's it. Go ahead to cut it off. That's the collar. Alright. Alright, that's it. So this is the colors, this is the collar, and this is the color stand. So that is all for the collar. So the next step is to trace it on my fabric. So I'll trace it. Remember, you cut it into two because you're going to use the same fabric to fold it. Then you sew in the two edges of the collar. You can add gum steck to make it firm, but I didn't add any one in this one. So you sew the edges and leave the two ends open. Alright, so now the next step is to sew it and to attach the collar stand to the collar. This is the collar, then this is the stand. So I go ahead to attach it inside the opening, folding the edges and sew it down. So this is it. Alright, this is it. So you can see I've attached the collar stand to the collar. So the next step is to attach it to the fabric. Now go ahead to attach it to the fabric. Remember, the edges is open. You don't have to sew it round like this. You just have to open the edges and insert the neckline inside the collar stand. Alright, just insert the neckline inside the collar stand, then you sew together. Alright, you can actually hold it with your office pin to make it easier for you. Just fold it in and pin it down with the office pin, then you go ahead and sew it. Alright, just like this. Okay, ensure that they are perfectly set. Ensure you fold the collar well. Just take your time and fold it in. So this is it. I've fixed the collar on the shirts and the buttons and the buttonholes. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, share and comment. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.